Elizabeth Warren called Abdul El-Sayed the fighter Michigan needs for Senate. So stop right there. Warren just strapped herself to the guy who said ICE has to be abolished and bragged we take them to the mud and choke them out. This is the Democrat mask coming off in Michigan, and wait until you hear who else torched him. So Speaker Mike Johnson, he warned it's not a game. We're not going to turn this country into a communist experiment. That line hits harder when Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and AOC push Abdul El-Sayed in a seat that patriots can flip with Trump-backed Mike Rogers. Now look at the stack here. El-Sayed wants ICE abolished, pushes socialized medicine, and pulls in $700,000 a year while posing as an anti-elite crusader. You and I know exactly what Michigan is watching now. A Democrat Party civil war that exposes the entire scam. Also breaking now out of Washington, near record tungsten prices and new pressure to reduce reliance on China are accelerating Washington's push to harden the critical mineral supply chain. Tungsten is now a tungsten national security priority used in fighter jets, tanks, missiles, drones, and ammunition. Yet the United States has seen no U.S. commercial tungsten mining since 2015. President Trump's Project Vault includes a $12 billion strategic stockpile and $30 billion domestic production push, while the Pentagon has directed millions towards restarting U.S. tungsten production. Vault Strategic Mining, trading as KNOX in Canada and KNXFF in the United States, is targeting historic tungsten assets in mining-friendly U.S. jurisdictions, including Nevada's Great Basin. The district carries a USGS estimate of roughly 168,000 tons of tungsten oxide and an estimated in-ground value of $30 to $50 billion. To find out more, check out the Next News intelligence briefing that's been prepared for you, linked below. Now, John Fetterman called Abdul El-Sayed essentially a pro-Hamas candidate and a phony. A Democrat senator just blew a hole through the media makeover machine while Warren keeps cheering this guy on. Now that split screen is brutal. Now let's walk through the receipts that they just can't hide. Elizabeth Warren.
I'm endorsing Abdul El-Sayed for Senate in Michigan. Abdul is the only candidate in this race not taking corporate money, and he's fighting to get money out of politics altogether. Abdul studied to be a doctor, and he's fighting for every single American to have affordable, high-quality health care. Abdul has been a card-carrying union member, and he's fighting for working people. That's why he's endorsed by the United Auto Workers, and he's growing a movement of working people all across Michigan. And that's why I'm endorsing Abdul. He is the fighter Michigan needs in the Senate.
Just like Maine? Right, Maine, Graham Plattner, your endorsement there turned out real good. I'm sure endorsing a terrorist isn't going to help you any better either. So let's continue. That's Elizabeth Warren right there, going all in for Abdul El-Sayed. Now watch what kind of candidate she's promoting, because he says flat out, ICE can't be reformed and has to be abolished. Here we go with the same talking points.
ICE has nothing to do with immigration. ICE has nothing to do with the southern border. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. ICE is about weaponizing the idea of immigration against the Constitution itself. ICE cannot be reformed. ICE cannot be retrained. ICE has to be abolished. You're not getting another dime of our money. Not one more dime.
This guy's dangerous, man. And you just heard him demand the end of ICE. Next, the fallout inside the Democrat Party, where AOC and Bernie are pushing him anyway, and the party bosses are worried he'll blow a Senate seat. Democrats are facing a huge civil war. Eric Doherty reports from the communists in Michigan. AOC and Bernie Sanders infuriating Chuck Schumer by pushing Abdul El-Sayed for Senate. Dems worry he will lose to Trump-backed Mike Rogers. Big Democrat dollars are flooding in the race to try and defeat the socialists. AOC is rushing in to blow up the Democrat Party, and she could cost them a crucial Senate seat. Bernie Sanders pushed Graham Plattner, who got demolished. Now he's pushing Abdul. defeat the socialist Muslim, and get Mike Rogers elected. Let's take a look at this post from Fox.
The U.S. Senate candidate, Abdul El-Sayed. He is very, very progressive, highly progressive. He's a Democrat. He wants Medicare for all, wants to get money out of politics, he thinks that the billionaires have corrupted the political system. He wants a 7% wealth tax.
So what you're seeing now is there's a big push on mainstream Democrats to stop him from winning. They don't think he could beat Mike Rogers. They don't think Michigan is going socialist. They think there's a blue-collar aspect, working-class aspect they're very proud of in Michigan as well, and they're not willing to go that direction. Democrats, realizing they're in trouble, see momentum that he has with younger people, overeducated younger people, and they were scrambling to stop him flooding his opponent with money. And then Bernie Sanders and AOCs try to push back. So there is a subtle civil war going on big time, and it's happening first and foremost in Michigan.
Here's Bernie Sanders.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you, change is coming. Progressives have been defeating establishment candidates all across America. And whether they like it or not, we're going to win here in Michigan. I know that in some of the media, they talk about me, they talk about Abdul, they talk about Alexandria's far, far left, extremist, communist, this and that. And I don't have to tell the people of Grand Rapids or Detroit or Michigan, you've been breathing that filthy air from the forest fires. And Abdul will understand that we can create millions of good-paying union jobs by transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy.
But what is it going to cost you? You can't be green energy and be pro-affordability as well. We've seen it in these progressive states. They want these energy policies, but it doesn't bring the cost of energy down. So maybe they should tell the voters when they're talking about affordability that they planned on raising the prices of energy.
Right, this guy.
Folks, we need a red firewall against the red invasion that's on our soils right now. So that clip shows the Democrat civil war in plain sight, with the socialist wing trying to drag Michigan even further left. Now, even Democrat Senator John Fetterman jumps in, calling El-Sayed an anti-American, anti-Israel, and a phony.
Socialist in place of Graham Plattner that they're rallying behind. What do you think of him?
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. You know, Bernie is there campaigning for this guy. You know, humble yourself, Bernie. You know, you just push an accused rapist and imploded up in Maine, and now you're pushing, essentially a pro-Hamas candidate that's been anti-American and deeply anti-Israel. You know, he's a socialist that earned $700,000 last year. His wife, in private practice, she refuses to accept Medicaid for that. I mean, he's a phony, and he has said incredibly anti-American thing.
Wow. John Fetterman, man. This guy surprises me every single time I see him. Every single time. He's the only voice of reason in the Democrat Party these days. So he didn't hold back there, and the criticism isn't just coming from one corner up. Up next, Ken Paxton says El-Sayed is cut from the same cloth as other far-left Democrats trying to rebrand themselves.
You see a bright contrast between someone like Abdul El-Sayed running in Michigan and James Tallarico running against you here in Texas?
No, they're the same. It's just that James can't run like they run in Michigan or New York. He realized that. He did in the primary. I mean, his positions on trans and kids, fighting any attempts to protect children, his push for boys and girls sports, his voting against the state income tax, voting for state income tax. Now he's trying to portray himself completely different because he knows that he can't run like they run in Michigan. He can't run like Mondani ran in New York, but his views are very similar.
Talking about James Tallarico there. But his point is simple. The packaging changes, but the agenda stays radical. Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson draws the bigger line, warning Republicans this fight is about stopping a communist experiment in America.
For millions of working families. We've demonstrated that over and over. We'll continue to do it this week and in the days ahead. And that is why we're going to win decisively in the midterms. This is not a game. We're not going to turn this country into a communist experiment. We're going to maintain the greatest country in the history of the world. Take a few questions. Go over here.
Thank you, Speaker Mike Johnson. It's not a game. And the reason is easy to see. Next, more on El-Sayed's champagne socialist problem, including reported household incomes that puts him miles away from the Michigan families Democrats claim to represent.
Disclosures show that these champagne socialists are hypocrites. Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed and his wife make more than 9 times the average Michigan household, while Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's financial records reveal her campaign spent tens of thousands of dollars on luxury food and high-end hotels. Tommy, I'm going to start with you.
So after the money hypocrisy, the rhetoric gets even uglier. Now listen to El-Sayed tell supporters that when opponents go low, Democrats should take them to the mud and choke them out.
We need Democrats who have the courage to stand up to the power brokers in our own party, let alone Trump and his goons. We don't back down. We don't back down. We don't back down. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high. We take them to the mud and choke them out.
ICE has to be abolished. It came out of Abdul El-Sayed's own mouth, and Elizabeth Warren still stamped him the fighter that Michigan needs. That's the whole indictment right there. Warren, Bernie Sanders, AOC are not getting fooled by some fresh face. They are deliberately trying to plant an anti-law enforcement socialist in a Senate seat. Well, Democrats panic and Trump world watches them torch themselves. Abdul El-Sayed needs to answer for ICE has to be abolished, for mud and choke them out, and for that $700,000 champagne socialist hypocrisy right now. Don't let Elizabeth Warren and the Michigan Democrat machine wrap this radical in blue-collar packaging and slide him past voters like he's some harmless reformer. He's not. He's the party's true face. Open border fanaticism, anti-cop poison, class war theater, and thug rhetoric with a polished smile. So hit share and drop a comment and put Fetterman's own words, a phony and pro-Hamas candidate, right in front of every so-called moderate still running cover for this circus. Michigan can bury this scam, and with Trump-backed Mike Rogers in the fight, patriots have a real shot to flip the seat and humiliate the socialist wing in public. Now, Warren's El-Sayed endorsement is exactly the kind of story that gatekeepers choke on. So text the words White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network is credentialed inside the White House, and our nightly report lands straight on your phone from inside the building. First look, no algorithm, no suppression, just the insider channel.